After a tough game 2, I thought we were really, really good in all areas today. Pat Crawl obviously deserves a tremendous amount of credit, but I don't know if we could have played better offensively. We had some 2-out hits, we had some 2-strike hits. I thought our guys grinded out some at bats. We used the whole field on really what was a tough day to hit, wind blowing straight in. You can see the production throughout our lineup. Pender with 2 hits, Eli scores 2 runs, Chris Oakey scores 2 runs, walks 3 times, shows his patience at the plate. He walks 3 times, and the 1 hit he gets is on the 0-2 count. It's a double down the right field line. So it just shows you how locked in he was today. And Seth Beer was big again for us. And, Weston Wilson right there, that insurance run. When you look at the game of baseball, when you're up by 4 as opposed to 3, the tying run is no longer in the hole. So that's a big run for us right there to tack on that fourth run lead, 7-3 at that point instead of 6-3. And Jordan Green and KJ Bryant, every time we give KJ Bryant an opportunity, we find a way to win, it looks like. So he deserves to play. Overall, just a great win and one that we, as you all know, we desperately needed.
Coach, you had your share of delays this season. How hard is it to keep the team focused and refocused once they come back out? Do you have anything specific that you do to try to do that?
No, not really. I mean, I don't think our team. I don't think our team lacks focus in terms of if we have any sort of rain delay or anything like that. It's not easy. It's not easy because sometimes you don't know if you're going to come back on the field in 30 minutes or an hour and a half. It's a little bit tough. The guys will relax a little bit and take their mind off of it, and then all of a sudden you flip that switch and you got to go back to play. But, I just try to communicate with them, just tell them, hey, we're probably in a 30-minute delay here, so be ready to go and just get the guys ready. But, we were down early and came back again. So, it's a great win.
How much of a concern was there about Pat still being loose after the delay?
With it only being a 30-minute delay, he was fine. We kept him loose throughout that 30-minute period, so it wasn't too much of a concern.
This question's coming. Is he a Sunday guy? Is he a starter now? Or?
I knew it was coming. I'll tell you this: he's one of the best pitchers in the country, and it's something that we're going to look at. Obviously very strongly. We went 7 innings today out of the pen and 3 hits. 1 walk and 8 Ks, and that's the story today. We only walked 2, made 1 error, and 1 HBP. So they only had 4 free passes today, and that's a recipe for success. Score 7 runs in the game. We had a lot of quality at bats, played good defensively, and we pitched our rear ends off.
Go ahead, Brad.
Go ahead.
How confident do you feel when he's out there? I mean, it just seems like it's just a different team really when he's out there on the mound.
It all starts on the mound, and he's one of the best pitchers in the country. So I think not only are we as coaches confident when he pitches, I think our whole team's confident. They know that when he's on the mound, we got a chance to win the game.
In terms of what Pat and staff have given you this year, you put in words in the game the magnitude you had here today of what they were able to give you.
Oh, geez. This was. I think when you look back at the season, whenever the season's over, this is a win that we will remember for sure. When we've gone through a tough stretch the last 3 weekends in a row, and everybody looked at this series and said, this is one that the Tigers must win, and we found a way to get it done, and we did not play very well yesterday. So again, it just shows you the character and the selflessness of our team to be ready to play today and put yesterday's game behind them. And as far as Pat goes, I mean, he's one of the best pitchers that I've ever had a chance to coach. There's no doubt about it. I've never had a guy that has been that consistent, over the course of a whole season. He's really, really good. He's one of the best relievers, best pitchers, period, in the country.
I know you already had Chanel slated for the starter today, but was there any reconsideration about starting Pat Crawl with the series tied?
No. I try to stick to my word. If I tell the guys at the beginning of the week that they're going to start, I'm going to stick with it. I just think that's the right thing to do. And to Chanel's defense, he gave up some hits, but we also we didn't make a play behind him that could have helped him. It was a double play ball, and we didn't get an out, and You give Florida State credit. They're a very disciplined hitting team. That the only blemish for me was the 2-strike pitch, base hit up the middle. We just didn't get it in enough. But besides that, I thought he was doing fine. We just knew the magnitude of this game, that we were going to go to crawl if there was any sort of issue whatsoever, and they were starting to gain some momentum. They had to lead. They had a couple guys on base, and we said we got to go to crawl right here.
Speaking of the defense, you've had kind of a revolving door at third base. You even played Williams there a little bit. Green had a rough start today, but it seemed like he kind of redeemed himself later in the game.
Well, the one thing about it, the ball that that he had the error on was just a big hot ground ball that tipped out of his glove, but then he made a couple really nice plays. So even though he threw one ball away, it was a ball that could have been a double. So he's just got to get reps. That's the big thing. And heck, and part of it is my fault. Part of it is my fault. I keep running different guys in and out over there. And look, I know what it's like to not play and then go in there and have to play. And also having to play a position that maybe I'm not extremely comfortable at as well. So, part of it is my fault as well. I've moved some guys in and out just trying to find the right answer and haven't really settled on anybody. And, part of that is on me. And he's a true freshman, so, he's gonna have some growing pains over there. But, hopefully today him making a couple plays will continue to build his confidence. And he has some good at-bats for us too.
Monte, you mentioned earlier how important those 3 runs were. Can you talk about that inning again and how it kind of was what you guys really needed going that ninth inning?
Oh, geez. Well, they're a dangerous team. I thought the 8th was big for us. The 8th was big because they were flipping their lineup back over and going back through the top of their lineup, and they had Naporte coming up, and they had Raleigh coming up, and Sanson, Sanson's a really good hitter. So they flipped their lineup back over, and I said to myself, if we can get through the 8th inning without giving up anything, I feel really good. Pat, a couple guys got on base, and we found a way to get out of it. So I felt really good after we got through the heart of their order, the 2, 3, 4 guys who were extremely dangerous for them. And then, Pender comes up, base hit, Oki walk, great at bat, Beard double the other way, 2 runs. And then that ensured that other run, that 2-out hit. And I don't know how many we had today, but we had a few of them. We had some 2-out hits with runners on base, and, really good clubs do that. So, that was big for us. The keys to any offense is to get the leadoff guy on base and 2-out hits. You look at Florida State beat us yesterday. That's what they did. They got the leadoff guy on. They come up with some big 2-out hits with runners on base. So, and we did that today. We played our best ball game today. This was a really, really good game for us in all facets.
You see a more aggressive team today?
Yeah, they were more aggressive. They were they were confident. Our team's always pretty confident even through bad times. And I like that. I like that. I haven't seen many times where I felt like, our team has lost its confidence, lost its swagger. Even when we've had, bad games, our guys tend to bounce back pretty good. And that's something that I really try to park on them and push on them, because you see what happens. We get beat soundly yesterday, and we come out and play one of our best games today. And that's what baseball does for you. That's what kind of game it is, and that's the big message I'm trying to preach to them, and they respond to it.
You've already touched on this a little bit, but we heard a lot of cheering coming through the floor here. Can this be the game that pushes you into the final stretch of the season?
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope it will. It's up to them. It's up to the guys. I think they're going to feed off this game, and they obviously enjoyed a little post-game celebration in the locker room, and I did too. It's not often as a coach. Heck, yesterday I go home, I can't sleep. I'm worried to death about, what am I going to do today? What kind of decisions do I need to make as a coach? What do I need to do better? We don't get many days where we can just enjoy it. It's always just a relief. You're miserable when you lose, and it's just a relief when you win. Today is one of those days you enjoy as a coach, and so right now I'm just as happy as I can be for my guys. I'm so happy for them and proud of them. And again, they were so selfless today and just competed from pitch 1 to pitch 200 or whatever it was, however many pitches were in that ball game. Just really, really proud of how we competed, and going to enjoy it tonight. And, get ready for, I guess it's Furman. Is that right? Is that our next game? I haven't been worried. I'm one at a time, baby. One at a time.
Coach, on a personal level, how special is it for you to take a series from a coach like Mike Martin, a legend?
Mike Martin is, is considered by most people in my profession on our side as the best coach in the country. And I think it's always a compliment when you look at his teams and what he does with his teams. You know, he gets the most out of his teams. He's one of those guys that, you know, it's like a sponge. You know, he fills those guys up with water and squeezes everything out of them. And he does. I mean, he takes guys that, you know, aren't great hitters and they're on-base machines.